Hey everyone, welcome back. So last video, we saw clear proof that the political system isn't very responsive to regular people. It mainly works for ultra wealthy people and big corporations. The example I discussed was the 2017 tax cuts. Most people didn't want them, but politicians passed them anyway because the rich donors, aka the people who pay for ads and campaigns to help them get elected in the first place, demanded that they do so.
My donors are basically saying, get it done or don't ever call me again.
In this video, let's discuss how this system of influence works day to day. I mentioned donors that pay to sway elections for the politicians they expect to do their bidding, but that's only step one. This whole system is actually really easy to understand because it's all about incentives and leverage. Put yourself in a donor's shoes. Say you're a billionaire and you own a big company that makes you a lot of money, like a pharmaceutical company that sells insulin. You wouldn't want the government passing a law that caps the price of insulin, right? Because even if that would benefit the public, that would be capping how much profit you can make. And after the politicians who you spent money to help get elected actually enter into office, well, now you have less leverage over them than when they were needing your money during the campaign. Plus, you really need leverage over many politicians since laws need majorities to pass. So having leverage over just one here or there, or only during election time, isn't enough. Now that the election is over, you need to keep them loyal, which means you need to maintain leverage. Lobbying is how they maintain leverage after election day. It's a full time, year round business, constantly shaping laws and rules that impact your paycheck, healthcare, and how much things cost, among other things. Remember, this isn't about Republicans or Democrats, left or right. It's about understanding the system itself, how the powerful secretly influence our government no matter who's in office. First, what exactly is lobbying? In simple terms, it's when people with money pay professionals to shape laws, regulations, and government decisions after election day. And it's huge. Just last year, groups spent over 4.4 billion on lobbying in Washington, D.C. There are roughly 24 lobbyists for every single member of Congress. They are hired and paid for by big corporations, each with their own reasons to influence the government. Pharmaceutical companies, for instance, spend billions lobbying in order to keep drug prices high, keeping U.S. drug prices 2 to 3 times higher than they are in other countries, making it harder and more expensive for regular people to afford necessary medications. Banks and financial institutions lobby hard against regulations, allowing them to take bigger risks and make huge profits, often leaving us, the taxpayer, footing the bill if things go wrong, like the deregulation that caused the 2008 financial crisis, where us taxpayers bailed out the banks that couldn't fail. Tech giants lobby to protect their massive profits, pushing against laws that would protect your privacy or limit their power. Companies like Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple collectively spend millions upon millions of dollars lobbying each year, fighting against antitrust and federal privacy laws. But how do these lobbyists actually influence the laws passed by Congress? Like, what do they actually do? To understand the playbook, let's look closely at Jack Abramoff, once the most famous and corrupt lobbyist in America. He went to prison in 2006 and he spilled the beans on how it all works when he got out a few years later. He was great at getting politicians and their staff to do what his clients wanted. It wasn't always secret bags of cash, though. Often it was simpler ways of making powerful people feel obligated. One basic tactic is free perks and access.
Abramoff would provide freebies and gifts, looking for favors for his clients in return. He'd lavish certain congressmen and senators with access to private jets and junkets to the world's great golf destinations like St. Andrews in Scotland, free meals at his own upscale Washington restaurant, and access to the best tickets to all the area's sporting events, including 2 skyboxes at Washington Redskins games.
I spent over $1 million a year on tickets to sporting events and.
Think about it. Free fancy dinners, amazing seats at the game, golf trips. It creates a cozy relationship. You scratch my back, I scratch yours kind of thing. Lobbyists know exactly what they're doing.
Can you quantify how much it costs to corrupt a congressman?
I was actually thinking of writing a book, The Idiot's Guide to Buying a Congressman, as a way to put this all down. But first, I think most congressmen don't feel they're being bought. Most congressmen, I think, can, in their own mind, justify the system, rationalize. Yeah. And by the way, we wanted as lobbyists for them to feel that way. The corruption, the bribery, call it.
Okay.
Because ultimately that's what it is. That's what the whole system is.
The whole system's bribery?
In my view, I'm talking about giving a gift to somebody who makes a decision on behalf of the public. At the end of the day, that's really what bribery is. But it is done every day, and it is still being done.
But Abramoff revealed the most powerful tool lobbyists use, offering high-paying jobs to congressmen, congresswomen, or their staff members. This is a revolving door I mentioned in a previous video.
When we would become friendly with an office and they were important to us, and the chief of staff was a competent person, I would say, or my staff would say to him or her at some point, you know, when you're done working on the Hill, we'd very much like you to consider coming to work for us. Now, the moment I said that to them, or any of our staff said that to them, that was it. We owned them. And what does that mean? Every request from our office, every request of our clients, everything that we want, they're going to do. And not only that, they're going to think of things we can't think of to do.
This works because government salaries are low compared to lobbying gigs. Staffers are the ones who actually handle the details, write the memos, and control information in a congressional office. If $1 million job is waiting, who gets their loyalty? Us, the voters, or the lobbyists offering them the job? This all leads to another sneaky tactic: hiding favors in the fine print of massive, complicated bills that election officials oftentimes don't even read themselves. Abramoff explained working with staffers to sneakily insert tiny bits of text into bills that benefit lobbyist clients.
So what we did was we crafted language that was so obscure, so confusing, so uninformative, but so precise to change the U.S. Code.
Public Law 100-89 is amended by striking Section 207, paren, 101 stat, period, 668, 672, close paren.
Right. Now, isn't that obvious what that means?
So that's what you tried to get inserted.
Yes.
And that was going to provide for a casino.
Yes.
And who on earth is going to know that?
No one except the chairman of the committees.
Who stuck it in there?
Yes.
And it was deliberately written like that.
Precisely. Yes.
And that's done a lot.
Members don't read the bills.
You didn't even know what it was for.
Had no idea. And then when we got the written
But
language,
why didn't you know what it was for? That
I didn't care whether, knowing or not. I was dumb enough to not say, what's this thing do?
That last guy was Bob Ney, a former congressman that Abramoff lobbied. This is how special tax loopholes get created, how regulations get weakened, how your insulin and other drug prices stay high. It's hidden in language lawmakers don't even read, inserted by staffers loyal to lobbyists who offered them jobs. And this is a widespread problem.
We probably had very strong influence in 100 offices at a time. In those days, I would view that as a failure, because at least 335 offices that we didn't have strong influence in.
And he was just one lobbyist of thousands. So you can start to imagine the scale of the problem. And while Congress has passed some reforms around lobbying, they are not very helpful. Abramoff laughed them off, explaining how easily lobbyists get around them.
But our system is flawed and has to be fixed. Human beings populate our system. Human beings are weak.
And you preyed on that.
I did. I was one of many who did. You can't take a congressman to lunch for $25 and buy him a hamburger or a steak or something like that, but you can take him to a fundraising lunch and not only buy him that steak, but give him $25,000 extra and call it a fundraiser and have all the same access and all the same interaction with that congressman. So the people who make the reforms are the people in the system.
Could you do the same thing today? I'm asking you whether you think the system's been cleaned up.
No, the system hasn't been cleaned up at all.
At all.
There's an arrogance on the part of lobbyists that no matter what they come up with, we're smarter than they are and we'll overcome it. We'll just find another way through.
So that's the lobbying game. Building relationships with perks, using job offers to gain loyalty from staffers, hiding favors in complex bills, and easily bypassing weak reforms. It's the constant day-to-day work of making sure the government serves powerful interests, not the public. Now, is all lobbying inherently corrupt? No. Sometimes groups lobby for a just cause by making their case to lawmakers in good faith. But when you have billions of dollars flooding the system with so few real rules, the incentive pushes strongly towards the kind of corruption that Abramoff detailed. It confirms the old saying that power corrupts. And the kind of power money holds over our political system makes these outcomes almost predictable. The lobbying ground game is just one piece, though. Next time, we'll zoom out to the bigger picture, the billionaire networks acting as architects of the whole system of influence, and why it matters directly to you. If this opened your eyes, please share it. Did you realize how this worked? Let me know in the comments. Always fact check. Keep learning. Thanks for watching. Stay informed. Keep talking. It matters. I'll see you in the next video.